Hello and welcome to the Centre Spotcast, episode number 4. Toby, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. Episode number 4 already. Oh,
Already, it's crazy, isn't it? We've only just recovered from yesterday's incredible football. How many goals?
14?
14?
Oh,
14 goals and a penalty shootout. And Toby, the world champions, are gone.
I mean, let's be honest. This tournament has been an absolute Mbappe stinker. I put him down as my Golden Boot winner, and he didn't score, and then missed a penalty to knock him out. I'm gutted for him.
Well, yeah, I don't think anyone could ever begrudge you for putting Mbappe as the Golden Boot scorer, but yeah, he's had a shocker. But if any player can bounce back and come back stronger, it's Mbappe, and people are gonna be writing him off now, saying he's finished. He's 22 years old, for God's sake. Obviously incredible to see Switzerland go through. Netherlands are out already. Portugal are gone. This tournament is wide open. And we today are going to be discussing England's chances of finally bringing it home. I am going to mention we haven't got Ryan today. So there's no England negativity on this podcast. But we do have his starting lineup, which we will be going through. He's put at the bottom, tear me apart, and Ryan, we will. Don't you worry, bud. Toby, obviously yesterday, incredible football. Today we've got 2 more games, obviously the big one being England. Do you think we'll get more of the same?
To be fair, I think we exhausted all the exciting football yesterday. I think this could be 2-0 today, especially England-Germany. I don't see either team going out there with a setup to really score some goals. But I could be proven wrong.
Yeah, who knows? Fingers crossed for a nice, exciting game anyway. It's going to be crazy. Obviously, our route to the final now is, if we beat Germany, is nice and clear. But I don't think we can write off the likes of Denmark. Sweden look really good. So yeah, we've got some really tough games if we do beat Germany tonight. But yeah, who knows? What we're gonna do today is we're obviously gonna talk about the England game, see what we're thinking for that. We'll give you our score predictions, and also we've got our predicted starting 11s. So we've got mine, we've got Ryan's, and we've got Toby's. We also asked you guys to vote on your starting 11, which we will reveal. Should we do that first, Toby, or should we do that last?
Let's go for the Twitter one first. Let's go for that one first.
All right, let's get you guys out of the way. So, the Twitter 11, Toby. I will read it out to you, and I will look at your face as we as we mention the players. See what your reaction's like. So, in goal, we've got Jordan Pickford. Pretty solid. We've got a back 4, Toby. A back 4 of Walker at right back, Maguire and Stones as centre-back pairing, Luke Shaw at left-back. We've then got a midfield 3, Rice and Phillips, with Grealish starting in the middle. And then up front, we've got Saka, Sterling and Kane. What are your first thoughts on that one?
I don't think, if I was to make the England best 11 or ultimate 11, I don't think that Saka gets in there for me, and I don't think that Phillips gets in there for me. But I think the rest of it's quite close, really. A lot of it is up for debate with the England squad. I think we've got a lot of quality, which is good to think, that we've got so many options where I wouldn't be disappointed if Southgate started them. I think this is going to be an interesting one, but it's not exactly the same as what I've got.
Okay, cool. I really like Saka in there. You know I'm a big fan of Saka. His versatility alone, I think, puts him in my team. Or does it? is he in my team later on? We will find out. So yeah, Toby, what are your thoughts for the England lineup, and just give us a rundown on obviously what you think is going to happen in the game.
Yeah. Well, what I would say for my ultimate England 11 is backline is exactly the same as Twitter has said it. I would start with Pickford, Walker, Maguire, Stones, and Shaw. I think that they are just the upper echelon of players that we've got in the squad. I think our defence is sorted for probably the next 5 years. Do you know what I mean? For England, and I think that should always be somewhat down the line with maybe change Shaw every now and then, but Shaw for Chilwell every now and then. But I think Shaw had an incredible season, really coming into his own since Mourinho's been gone, and I'm really happy with him at left back. Going into midfield, if I'm playing the same 4-2-3-1, I put Rice and Henderson. What do you think about Rice and Henderson?
Yeah, you obviously a fit Jordan Henderson for me gets in every single England squad until he obviously retires from international football. Um, Liverpool captain, Champions League winner, Premier League winner. Yeah, you can't discount Jordan Henderson if he's fully fit. The reason I would go against it this tournament is that he hasn't had that much football over the last few months. Obviously, only just sort of coming back into the England fold, getting 45 minutes was it the other day? Yeah.
Yeah, roughly.
So yeah, the only point I was going to make as you were speaking there, you say our defence is sorted for the next 5 years. A lot of people say that that's England's weakest point at the moment, and say that we haven't really got a household back two, like the likes of John Terry, a Sol Campbell, or Rio Ferdinand, those sorts of players. When you say we're sorted for the next 5 years, do you mean we've got a lot of promising talent coming through, or do you think that the back five that you mentioned are our mainstays?
I think the back five I mentioned. I mean, you look at our qualifying run, and you look at our group stage. I mean, we barely conceded in the qualifying run, and we didn't concede in the group stage. And I think I said in another pod, England teams of old, even with John Terry and Rio Ferdinand, would have conceded in that Scotland game. They probably wouldn't have kept their bottle against Croatia. I think a team is not as good as its individuals. It's as good as its team. And I think that this team at the moment has more togetherness than any England team that I've seen since I've been alive.
Yeah, no, that's spot on. That's what Gareth Southgate is trying to install. You see it in interviews, left, right, and centre. And as you said on the podcast last time, this England team and the whole nation are together more than ever since the 2018 World Cup. That really sparked something in me. Before that, I could give or take England, to be fair. I was very much like, okay, yeah, I'll watch it because it's England. But I even found myself before that, when England were playing, not even celebrating the goals and just watching it as if I was watching a neutral game. But yeah, so that, huge credit to Gareth Southgate and the players for making a nation believe again. The pub gardens are full, the beaches are full. Obviously, if COVID allowed, we'd probably have massive screens on Brighton Beach, and it would be party galore. So yeah, I really respect what they've done there. Obviously, as well with the defence, we've got so many young talent coming through, as well as you say, having some solid teamwork back there. Maguire and Stones. Let's not forget Maguire, Manchester United centre back, John Stones, the centre back of serial winners, Manchester City. I think people look past that, and our fullbacks, the depth is incredible. Chilwell and Shaw on the left. Trippier can play there. Walker, Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Then you've got the likes of Ben Godfrey. You've got obviously Ben White coming through. So yeah, I think that the future's really bright. And people shouldn't discount what this England defence is capable of. Because as you say, in the group stage, it's been defensive masterclass. I know it's been boring. I know some players are calling for, attractive, fast-flowing, ball-zipping everywhere football. But at the end of the day, as I think you said in the last podcast, if we win every game 1-0 and win the tournament, happy days, So yeah, who have you got in your midfield then, Toby?
So midfield would be Rice and Henderson.
Yeah, you did say that.
Which again, I think it's pretty clear to me at least that those two would be the best if they're both fully fit. If we're talking about the attacking mid as well, if we're going to go for the triangle, I'd put Mason Mount in there, attacking mid.
Okay. So obviously Mason Mount, I don't think he can start today, can he? Or can he?
I think he can start, but I think that he hasn't been training with the team. Is what?
Yeah.
I think we decided that last time.
I think whether that will sway Southgate's choice, who knows? But yeah, that's obviously really good news that Mason Mount has obviously come out of isolation now and can start. But yeah, completely agree with Mount. I think he's been absolutely first class for Chelsea. When Lampard was really struggling, I feel like Mason Mount was probably the biggest light in that Chelsea team, papering up a few cracks probably. And he's still incredibly young, and he's carrying that Chelsea team. As you say, I think you said it a couple of podcasts ago that we're seeing shades of Lampard in him. And yeah, that's fantastic to see. Lampard was one of my favourite players, and so to have someone like him coming through again, that's going to get involved and get into goal scoring opportunities from midfield, and also shore up that midfield. I think it's brilliant. So you've got a midfield three then of Rice, Henderson, and Mount. Perfect. Who is your front three?
Going to the front three, I've put Sterling on the left, Kane in the middle, which I think are the two obvious ones, at least for me. On the right is where you've got question marks, because you've got Saka, who looked to be playing really well. You've got Sancho, who everyone's calling for off the bench. You've got Foden, who started the tournament well. If I'm talking about an Ultimate England 11 and not based on form this tournament, I put Foden. And I put Foden because he has taken a Man City side and given them an exciting player. Whereas I think you've seen the Man City dominance normally just be, Aguero's the exciting player. Every year. And then Foden's come along and he's started to look absolutely immense. So I think this year is the year that he's ready. But I think especially going into the next tournament, if we're talking about Ultimate England 11s, he makes it every time for me at right wing.
Absolutely. When you've got a player there, extremely young. Again, I feel like I'm saying that for every single England player at the moment, which is amazing. We've got such a young, exciting crop of talent coming through. So obviously Phil Foden in a Man City team next to the likes of De Bruyne, Ferran Torres, Sergio Aguero, Gabriel Jesus, Gundogan. I could go on, and he doesn't look out of place. What is he, 20, 21? Gosh. So I mean, he doesn't look out of place. He's probably has been one of their best players this season, Phil Foden. That run and goal he scored against Brighton. Obviously, the first game we could go to as fans. Well, I could go to as a fan. last season, he ripped us apart. Sure, he went missing for the rest of the game, but obviously they went down to 10 men. But yeah, he's incredible talent, and yeah, you can't look past him if, as you say, you're looking at an England ultimate 11 for what we have at the moment. Um, I've gone slightly different. I've gone based off of form this tournament, and for what I would pick against Germany. Um, and obviously, I'll sort of back up why I think what I think. So I've gone for a 5-2-3 formation, Toby. So I've got five at the back, and I've gone obviously Pickford in goal. You've got Trippier at right back. I've got a centre back three of Walker, Stones, and Maguire, and then at left back I've got Luke Shaw. The reason I've gone for wing backs against Germany is that I think they'll probably be starting with wing backs as well. And I'd just like to counteract that. If I was Gareth Southgate, I'd like to counteract that and make sure I was pushing their wing backs, back a bit, to make sure they weren't causing our. If we start with a back four, I think those fullbacks for Germany could cause us some real problems. That's why I've gone for a back five. In the midfield, I've got Phillips and Rice. I would start Henderson if he was fully fit. But yeah, I've gone for Phillips and Rice because they've been playing together the whole tournament, and I feel like they're coming up with some sort of partnership and understanding of where each other would be. I like how Rice can drop back and let Phillips sort of take the reins in the midfield, and really start to close people down. I think that's where Phillips is at his best, when he's being that his tenacious self. And then I've got a front three of Saka at right mid, Kane and Sterling. I don't know what you think of that.
Yeah, I think Saka, he looks really good. And he looked really good in that Czech Republic game. The only thing that worries me about Saka is on club level, I don't think he's done as much as Foden and they're similar players. And I don't think he looks as such a bright spark as Foden, which is the only reason I went Foden over Saka. Even in that Czech Republic game, I was thinking, what did Saka do that game that Foden didn't in the first two? I think Foden hit the post twice or something those first two games, so it was quite unlucky for him, because I imagine if he had scored both of those, we'd be talking about him as if he's Lionel Foden, and we'd be on the next hype. So yeah, I'm not sold on Saka yet. I think he'd be third choice between Foden, Sancho, and Saka for me.
Yeah, fair. It's such a tough thing to call. As you say, Foden, Saka, and Sancho all in contention for that spot. I feel really, really sorry for Gareth Southgate. It's causing fans headaches. It's all over social media, everywhere. Do you start Saka, Foden, Grealish, Sancho, Rashford, Sterling? Who do you start in that front three with Harry Kane? Yeah, I do not pity Gareth Southgate one bit. So obviously everyone's going to go for Harry Kane. You can't look past Harry Kane. I obviously, when he wasn't firing against Scotland, he obviously hasn't scored yet this tournament. I instantly went to my emotional reaction and was calling for Calvert-Lewin to start, thinking he can't do any worse. Harry Kane's dropping back. What is he doing? But yeah, I think for those fans thinking that, especially myself as well, take a step back and realise what he does for the team when he does drop back. Opens up so much more space, and when you've got the likes of Sterling, Saka, Foden, Grealish running through, yeah, it causes all sorts of problems. Yes, I would like to see him get forward a bit more and stay central, and be the Harry Kane of 2018, where he's just gobbling everything up and winning penalties, and But hey, if he has to adapt to that, if that's what Gareth Southgate wants him to do, he's been doing it at club level as well. Then let him carry on, and you know we've been successful in doing it so far. Again, I know only 1-0 wins, but it's been successful. So why change something that isn't broken? Don't know what you think about that, Toby.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I don't think there's an England fan out there who would keep Harry Kane out of the team just for a couple of bad games. And would you even call them bad games? I'm not too sure. Just different games, different style. I think back to, I think it was probably between 2010 to 2014 era of English football, where you've got every fan getting on the players' backs, every fan not at all inspired by what's going on. To be honest, I don't even think they have discussions back in. I don't think there's a single discussion between 2010 and 2014 about an England lineup because no one cared. So the fact that we're even able to have this conversation and care, I think is just unbelievable. What really upsets me though is the fans that are still stuck in 2010 to 2014 mode, and they're constantly saying, "Well, we'll lose to Germany. It's over anyway. We'll lose to Germany. Oh, it doesn't matter who we play. It doesn't matter. We'll lose to Germany." It's come on, wake up. Wake up. I think you're really underestimating us, actually, just because of what you've been through in the past. Whether we lose or not to Germany tonight is completely irrelevant in the whole story, because this England team is the best we've had in years. So I think that's just a message I'd say to the people that are disliking England.
And Ryan. Yeah. We'll get on to Ryan's lineup in just a second. I can only echo what you just said, Toby. I said to my wife last night when we watched France go out, I said, look, if England go out tomorrow against Germany, we can still be proud of the players and the togetherness that this England team have shown. I don't know, obviously, if these fans that are still in 2010, 2014 mode have watched any videos or interviews or, little clips from training. Just look at how the players are acting with each other. It's like a club, a really together club. Like you look at the Brighton team and how together they are. Especially the Brighton team of when we got promoted 2017, that was unbelievable togetherness, and this England team shines through with that. Obviously, Rice and Mount are like brothers. You've got obviously Bellingham and Sancho at Dortmund, but they don't just separate into their clubs like they did back in 2010. You'd have the likes of John Terry, Frank Lampard, Joe Cole all going off together. You'd have Wayne Rooney and Rio Ferdinand and all the other United boys going off together, and all the Liverpool, so on. Yeah, there's just nothing like that anymore, and it's just when you play for England, you're playing for England. Your clubs go out the window, and I feel like that's what it should be for the fans as well, because there's so much club bias when it comes to who would you start? Oh, I'd start Mount because I'm a Chelsea fan. Oh, I'd start Henderson because I'm a Liverpool fan. You need to look at it like a club, and when they're representing your country, they are England players. It's not a Chelsea player, it's not a Man United player, it's an England player, and just get behind them and support them. Yeah, I can't really say much more than all of this negativity that's on social media of no, it's not coming home, no, we're going to lose to Germany, no, it's not helping anyone. And yeah, if you've got nothing nice to say, just don't say it. Especially don't tag players in posts or send any abuse or any of that, because it still happens, Toby. It's 2021 and it still happens. Marcus Rashford getting racially abused left, right, and centre. Players sending death threats to players just for missing an open goal. I've seen Morata getting absolutely hammered on social media. It's absolutely disgusting. And if you've ever sent abuse to a footballer or anyone on social media, you are disgusting. And I hope you think next time, before you press that tweet button, it doesn't hurt not to tweet it. Think it. I don't care. Fucking say it to your cat. I really couldn't care less. Just don't put it on the fucking internet, because it really, really destroys people. So yeah, rant over about that. But yeah, just be kind. It's not hard.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Completely echo exactly what you said. I think there's been times in the past where, I let emotions take over, and I might. Oh, this is why I've stopped tweeting stuff after a game. I realise I'm too emotional. I wouldn't tweet ever directly at a player, but I'd tweet. My fucking club is really starting to annoy me now. You can't find the fucking net. I'd do a better job, that sort of thing. And I think that sort of thing that you keep to yourself, where it's not racist abuse, it's not. It's criticism at the end of the day. Oh, my club can't fucking score, that sort of thing. If it's going to the point where you're targeting an individual and you're saying, listen, I think back to Brighton when we had Leon Best. You go to an individual and you say, Leon Best, I don't like you because you're not scoring goals for my club. That's fine, but I don't like you because of the colour of your skin. That would be completely different. You need to realise the fine line between right and wrong, and then just don't direct players. Like, don't direct it to players. Do it in general. Say to your friends or whatever on Twitter, I don't like Leon Best. I don't think he should be starting because of this reason. It shouldn't ever be this person has this colour of skin. This person has this different culture. It should never be about that. It should never, ever be about that.
No, absolutely not. And, everyone tweets emotionally and reacts emotionally to things. But as you say, it's about how you react and how you word things, and whether you take your time to type in the @ symbol and put Marcus Rashford or Raheem Sterling. Just leave that out. And yeah, just before you send that tweet, just think about it. People don't think these days. And yeah, thing is, we've got such a culture or a society of direct access to these people now. You feel like you can just say whatever you like, and it's disgusting. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of the platforms have to do more. They have to. The Hope United movement obviously is fantastic, but it's not doing enough. The social media boycott, yes, it was moving and inspiring, but again, it didn't do a thing, because it still happens. The Be Kind movement, after someone sadly took their life, because of a certain show that I won't mention, didn't do a thing, and it's still happening, and it's so sad. So yeah, just think about it, because no one is too far away from doing that. If you're emotionally reactive to things, you're not too far away from doing that. So I just urge you to think about it. So yeah. Anyway, we'll move on to Ryan's prediction. We talk about Be Kind, but he knows it's banter. Love you, Ryan. He's got Johnston in goal. I'm just gonna throw that out there. He's got Johnston in goal.
Let's just end the pod here.
Right, I'm gonna say Johnston. Okay, yes, he's a good goalkeeper. He is. He had a great game against, was it Austria? Probably saved us a few times in the friendlies. But how can you look past Jordan Pickford? He's been our tournament goalkeeper for the last 2 tournaments, hasn't he? Was he the goalkeeper at the Euros, or was that Joe Hart?
I can't remember.
Maybe Joe
I can't remember now. Yeah,
Not
I think
sure,
it probably was Joe Hart.
But Jordan Pickford's been our mainstay as a goalkeeper in competitive games, qualifiers, World Cup last year, saved us in the penalty shootouts. How can you look past Jordan Pickford?
I can't. I honestly can't. I think everyone goes at him for having short arms, is what I see people say. It's like, you could have no arms, but if you're diving across that goal and saving the ball with your head, if as long as that ball's not going in the net, which it's not for England, you don't drop a player like him. He's so criminally underrated. It hurts. I think he starts every game for me, Jordan Pickford. I think the only reason he'd ever get dropped is if he starts to have stinkers and Nick Pope is fit. Johnston doesn't cut the mustard for me in an England top yet. I think at club level he was really good for West Brom. I think he might have been against Man United. I think he might have salvaged a draw just from saves alone. It was, I think it was this season, but it was ridiculous. He put in such an amazing performance. Even against Brighton, he looked pretty good. So he's not a million miles away, but for me, you cannot drop Pickford for no reason. You cannot just take him out and say, "Yeah, you'll see you later," because he's done nothing wrong. And yeah,
No, I think correct if his. Sorry, let me get my words out. Start again. Correct us if we're wrong, Ryan. Are you just doing this just to be controversial? Right. He's got a back four. Okay, he's got Reece James. He's got Mings and Maguire. So he's dropped John Stones. And he's got Chilwell. Who, correct me if I'm wrong again, Toby, but Chilwell hasn't played a minute of tournament football.
you know what? I don't even mind Chilwell in that lineup. I don't. That's in the back four. Chilwell and Maguire are the least of my concerns in that one. I'm looking at Ings and James because I think James is the worst of our unlimited right back options. No, I like James actually. I do, but starting Mings instead of Stones is like, you're taking away Man City's second best defender, a title-winning defender, a Champions League final defender, and replacing him with Aston Villa's second best English centre back. It's like, come on, mate, come on.
Yeah, I might understand if he put Mings instead of Maguire based on the fitness. But to take out John Stones is just ludicrous. I feel like he's probably our England's best defender at the moment. So yeah, to drop him is crazy. He's gone for two defensive midfielders. He's gone for Henderson, so he agrees with you there, but he hasn't started Declan Rice. He's gone for Phillips.
I How you could not start Declan Rice? He is our most exciting midfielder right now. You look at Henderson. Yes, he's good. He's probably better than Rice, but Henderson's not exciting. It's like watching paint dry. You know it's going to dry eventually, but it's still just there. Whereas Rice is like, he's so excited. He could go any way in his career. He could go Gerrard career, where he stays at West Ham his whole career, is a great defensive midfielder, brings them up into the top six, could start, working on his passing and shooting game, which he has. I think he's scored a couple bangers this season. Whereas if you're taking him out and starting Phillips isn't household name yet. He's not someone that you can look at and think, yeah, you're always going to get a really solid performance out of him, where you get that with Rice. Rice has to start. Any midfield pairing, I don't mind, but Rice has to be one of them.
Yeah, I can't agree more. Rice for me is probably the second name on the team sheet. Obviously, just discounting goalkeeper, because obviously Jordan Pickford starts every time. of the outfield players, he's the second name. It'll go Harry Kane, instantly Declan Rice, and then John Stones. Has to be. This tournament, if we're basing it on this tournament, even as you've based it on, Toby, an ultimate XI, then yeah, Rice for me has to be in it every time. He's been instrumental for West Ham this season. He's kept their midfield ticking with obviously Souček alongside him, and yeah, he just thrives of playing huge games, and he's shown that. So yeah, if Ryan, you're basing this on who to start against Germany, Declan Rice every day of the week.
I think
He's gone
as well. Sorry, I'll
Yeah,
just
sorry,
quickly
go on.
go. The spine of our team, now that I think about it again, is incredible. You've got Pickford, Stones, Maguire, and then going into midfield, you've got Rice, and then you've got striker Kane. And arguably, the spine of your team is the most important. And you look at that, and I'd struggle to say that there's not any world class players in there, which people were assuming that England don't have a world class team. Kane for me, world class. Rice for me, he's on his way. He's not yet. He's on his way. He's about to be world class. If England win this tournament, he's world class. Stones and Maguire for me, both already world class. Pickford, I think he's upper echelon, not world class.
Yeah, I agree. The way I look at it with regards to our team and our quality, obviously everyone writing us off, is you look at the other teams, and you see what quality they have, and then you realise what our squad of players have won. You know, the likes of the City and the Chelsea players, the Liverpool players. Obviously Chelsea won the Champions League. Okay, they beat Real Madrid on the way there. Manchester City, who did they beat on the way? PSG, probably, I think.
Yeah, I think that they did beat PSG, and that was Ruben Diaz that put in an amazing performance in that game.
Yeah. So obviously these players have beaten all of the best other players, other nations already in club football. I look at obviously Belgium; they've got herds of Premier League players in there. I look at them and I think, okay, if I was making a Premier League 11 of Belgian players and England players, England win that every time for me. You got Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling, Phil Foden, John Stones, Harry Maguire, Jordan Pickford. They've got aging Vertonghen, aging Alderweireld. All right, yeah, they've got De Bruyne. They've got Eden Hazard, who's not even the best of the Hazard brothers anymore. Yuri Tillemans, okay, yeah, he's nice, young, and exciting. I've got to throw Leandro Trossard in there. So yeah, for me, every day England come out on top in terms of quality especially against any of the teams left in this tournament. Obviously, France, Portugal gone out. So yeah, for me, we have the best squad now in the Euros.
I had a mate tell me last night that Belgium have 8 better starting 11 players than England, and I asked him to name them. The first name that came out his mouth was Lukaku, and I thought, there's no way Lukaku's better than Kane. Stop speaking. I'll run you through the Belgium squad. None of the defenders are better. Let's give 1 point to the goalkeeper. So that's 4-1 England. You go into midfield, De Bruyne, so 4-2. And then the other two midfielders, personally, I'd rather have Rice Henderson or Rice Phillips. Doesn't matter. So I'd go 6-2. And then the front three, you'd argue one of the Hazard brothers, Thorgan, wins it for me. So 7-2. But the other Hazard brother doesn't win it over Sterling for me. So sorry, 6-3. The other one doesn't win it, so that'd be 7-3. And then the striker Kane wins it every time. So that for me is 8-3 in terms of England. Personally, I'm not sure what you think about that.
Yeah, it's obviously Belgium have incredible quality as well, but do they have the depth that England have? I don't think so. You look at who would replace one of the Hazard brothers if they got injured. You'd argue that the Hazard brother would replace the Hazard brother, but if they both got injured, okay, then they've got Leandro Trossard. I'm obviously a massive Brighton fan, but for me, Leandro Trossard, he gets nowhere near the England squad, um, especially with the likes of Foden, Grealish, Sterling, Rashford in front of him. So yeah, our depth is second to none. I didn't even think France that looked good. Looked that good. Sorry, to be honest. Um, yeah, they were uninspiring. They were fighting for themselves. The players individually just thinking of themselves. They weren't playing as a team. Obviously, Paul Pogba scored that world-class goal. Yeah, fair enough. Really good finish. But then, how do a France team, who are world champions, not see out a 3-1 win? They should be completely embarrassed.
And I don't think it was, as much as the performance was spirited from Switzerland, I don't think it was a Switzerland masterclass that made that happen. It was dreadful defending from Kim Pembe, falling over at the first bit of pressure. It was really quite poor. So no, I'm not impressed at all. And even Belgium against what I thought looked to be a quite a lagging Portugal side. They couldn't score more than one, and the one that they did score was, I would say, Pickford probably saves it. I'm surprised Patricio didn't save it, because it looked like it was, although it was curving outwards, it looked like it was right in hands range to just tap that away. Although you can never underestimate the power and curve of a ball, I guess. But it was a lackluster display. But I guess you're always going to get that with a team like Portugal, because they are going to be good defenders, I guess. But I think that we could easily get past them at the moment.
Oh yeah, definitely. As I said, I think England now, obviously now Portugal and France are gone, have the best squad. I would even argue that we would have the best squad even with them in the tournament. Obviously, when we done our predictions, me and you both, Toby, we predicted England to win, and I based that on our depth alone, because if you've got an injury to Rice, you could bring in Henderson. If you've got an injury to Henderson, you've still got Rice and Phillips. You got Bellingham. Talking of Bellingham, Ryan has Bellingham to start against Germany. So there's no Foden, there's no not Kane, sorry. There's no Foden, there's no Mount, there's no Grealish. He doesn't even have Sterling in his team. No mention of Sancho at all anywhere. Yeah. Tell me what you think.
He's put Bellingham at centre attacking mid. So arguably England's most exciting all-round midfielder, and you want to start him attacking mid versus the Germans. He's still young. Let him develop into, I don't even want to use their names, but they were good players. But he'll be hopefully the next generation that plays like them, but is together as a team. Let him develop into a Scholes, a Gerrard. You know what I mean? Let him have the time and be an all-round midfielder. If you're forcing him into this attacking mid position where he doesn't play for Dortmund, he didn't play for Birmingham, I think that's just a bit too much for him personally. The other thing I'd note, I'm not sure if you caught this, but he put Saka on the left wing and Grealish on the right in his team. Why not swap them around? That's exactly. Their better positions.
Yeah, swap them over. And for me, I couldn't really argue it. I could argue that obviously Sterling starts, Foden starts, but obviously we've spoken about the depth, and you wouldn't really be too disappointed if one would start over the other. But at least get their positions right. I was looking at that as you were talking about Bellingham, and I was thinking, has Grealish played on the right for Villa? Has
I,
he
th- I,
ever?
th- I think he's the sort of player that can drift across the front three, I believe. But I don't think he's ever started there. He's normally on the left or in the centre. I don't see him starting on the right. It's just a waste of talent. I think he's good at cutting inside as well as good at using his left foot to cross. Why would you force him on the right where his best foot is just to cross? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, especially obviously after he got an assist on the left hand side. Obviously assisting Sterling for the header against Czech Republic. Um, Incredible cross with his weaker foot. I'm not sure Jack Grealish has a weaker foot, but yeah, Ryan, get their positions right, and we might agree with you. um, and obviously he's gone for Harry Kane up top, so we can't really say much about that one. I was really thinking he was going to go for Calvert-Lewin up top, but then I saw his lineup and I thought, okay, at least you've got maybe three positions right there.
I think he'd lose every shred of credibility if he didn't start Kane. To be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I was putting up the poll on Twitter last night, and I got to the striker part, I was literally thinking of putting Kane for all four options, because I think anyone would be crazy to not go for Harry Kane. Yeah, Ryan, you put Tear Me Apart. I don't think we've been too harsh on him. I think we've picked his points apart, but we haven't torn you apart. We'll save that for when you're on and we can get your reaction, mate.
Yeah, to be fair, I think every England fan's entitled to an opinion. If that's truly what he believes that Johnston should start, then he must see something that we don't.
Yeah, exactly. Weirdly enough, I had a dream last night that Ramsdale started. Yeah, really weird. Not sure what I was on, but
Did we win?
I can't remember, to be honest. I think I woke up.
They say send Southgate an email.
Yeah, Southgate. I had a dream of Ramsdale against Germany. Timo Werner comes 1-on-1. Yeah. Who knows? So yeah, obviously massive game tonight. Huge. I think obviously if we win this, we've got a really exciting route to the final. Certainly something that we can achieve based on the teams that we've come up against and we've beaten. Obviously, you look at Croatia, how they performed against Spain. We beat Croatia 1-0. Croatia was scoring goals against Spain for fun. I know Spain won 5-3 in the end. But that just goes to prove that how poor other teams' defences are at the moment. Obviously, Germany conceded quite a few in the group stage. So, yeah, I think we've got every chance, Toby.
Yeah, I think there's hardly a player in this generation of football to the level of Ronaldo, Messi, etc., Neymar. There's hardly a player. And it does worry me a little bit because even Mbappe struggling this tournament has worried me that we won't get the same sort of performance out of players for the next generation. You know, when I think back to this generation of football, the one I've grown up with, Ronaldo, Messi, always the best. When they both retire, I'm so worried for what's going to happen because it's like, who do you look up to? Who becomes the best? It's so open for debate, and it won't be an English player because our English players are so criminally underrated.
Yeah, as well, if the media do build an England player up to be the next Messi or the next Ronaldo, they're just going to get torn down when they have a bad season, because of how toxic our media is and how toxic some of our fans are. I won't generalize it, but some of our fans are absolutely horrible to England players. As soon as a player puts on an England shirt, they turn against them. But for club level, they're so wonderful. I don't get how that mentality changes. So yeah, I'm not overly worried about when Ronaldo and Messi retire. I think Mbappe, as I said earlier, can bounce back. He's still ridiculously young. Um, Obviously, he's already won the World Cup. He was class in the World Cup. Um, I think maybe France need a change of manager. I don't think they're doing it for him anymore. Um, they need to get Paul Pogba out the team. I'm sorry. I know people will rave that he's incredible for France, but his mentality absolutely fucking reeks. You see it yesterday when the game wasn't going their way and his head drops and he puts in 10% effort, and then Switzerland go and score an equaliser. In extra time, he looked absolutely a shell of himself. I will say incredible penalty from Paul Pogba in the shootout. But yeah, I feel like he only turns up when it's okay for Paul.
I mean, he scored an incredible goal as well. Don't forget.
Yeah, of course, he scored an absolute worldie. But you can't play a game for 20 minutes. You can't. Especially a tournament game, it goes on for 120 minutes if you're not on it. You cannot play a game for 20 minutes. Roy Keane said it last night. The mentality is ridiculous.
I think Vieira said it as well. Like, I think he said exactly what you said, is that you can't play a game for 20 minutes. And I think France thought they'd won it in that 20 minutes. And
exactly.
One thing I will say, though, is I was really surprised by how good Benzema was this tournament. Even though they've been knocked out, he looked like the shining light in that team.
Yeah. So many people probably thought that he was finished. Oh no, Benzema's too old now. They've got Giroud in their team as well. You're thinking, come on, France. You've got Mbappe. Obviously, Dembele, unfortunately, is out for 4 months now, isn't he?
Yeah, that's rough.
They've got Coman. They've got so many young, attacking, exciting players. But yeah, Benzema come in and prove that he ages like a fine wine. So yeah, incredible tournament from him, scoring goals when France needed him to. But yeah, they're out, they're gone. You can't be world champions and be that complacent. You go 3-1 up. We saw it in the Spain game as well. They went 3-1 up, probably thought they had the game done and dusted. Suddenly Croatia are at 3-3. So yeah, I think that's probably what the England players will take away as well from watching those two games, is that you just can't switch off. And that's where I've been really impressed with us. We didn't switch off in any of our games, not against Croatia. We were so on it. Obviously, I know we didn't score against Scotland, but we didn't let them have any sort of golden opportunity. And against Czech Republic, a team that have proven that they can score, we nullified them. Patrick Schick was completely silenced in that game. So yeah, really exciting that we've got a defence that can shut out players that are free and scoring. So I'm sure we'll have no issues shutting out Timo Werner. He's going to go and score the winner now.
No, I'm so looking forward to tonight's game, and then even the last 8. I just think this is going to be such an exciting tournament all the way through. I mean, just yesterday's games alone was enough to satisfy me. I'm happy that I've got the football fix that I needed this summer. So yeah, bring it on. I think England can go all the way. Just need to get past the Germany hurdle, and I think we can go all the way to the final, and then we'll literally have the day of our lives. Whether we win it or not, getting to a final is still going to be unreal.
Absolutely. Toby, we'll just end it on this. If you had a message for the England players before this game, what would it be?
This does not fucking slip. Come on, England! It's coming home!
full on Steven Gerrard there. Love that. Yeah, what I would say to them is, look, one opportunity to inspire a nation again, um, to the heights of even more than what you've already done. Um, leave it all out on the pitch. That's so cliche, but leave it all out there. Come back into the dressing room and feel like you've done your country proud. And if you do that, we'll be extremely proud, no matter what the result. So yeah, come on England. And yeah, it's coming home, Toby. It's coming home.
It's coming home. I just want to silence the 2010 to 2014 England fans. That's what I want to say. All the ones that just are so negative, let's silence them.
Oh, it'd be so sweet. It will be absolutely amazing. So yeah, fingers crossed that we can do that. Yeah, boys, if probably not listening, but if you are, best of luck. And yeah, go and smash the Germans. Perfect. Nice one, Toby. We'll all see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye bye.